Welcome to the channel. In today's video, I will be breaking down and previewing tonight's Hall of Fame game. Football is back. Let's go, y'all. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody had a great summer. Football is back. Y'all see the smile on my face. I'm excited. I got my notes here. We're going to break down everything between the Baltimore Ravens and the Chicago Bears. Now, today's game, we will be seeing how Mitchell Trubisky plays going into his second year. He'll be the full-time starter. Mike Glennon is no longer there, so he's going to be the full-time starter. And then today, we're also going to see how Lamar Jackson is going to debut, because we all know that the first team, the starters don't play really that much, especially because it's a Hall of Fame game, and the Ravens and the Bears are going to have 5 games of preseason, so you're most likely not going to see Joe Flacco. You're going to probably see him for at least one series or maybe 2 series, but other than that, we are going to see Lamar Jackson. He's excited for today's game, and I'm excited too. I'm going to start off with the Chicago Bears. We're going to see if Mitchell Trubisky is the franchise quarterback. But I want to take you guys on NFL.com. And the Chicago Bears are ranked first among having the best draft. Out of every single team, out of all 32 teams, the Chicago Bears are ranked number 1. Now, when I look back in my notes right now and see who they drafted, linebacker Raekwon Smith, even though he hasn't signed yet, they still have him. Offensive lineman from Iowa. Wide receiver. The roster from the rest of the draft, they've drafted a linebacker, defensive lineman, an edge rusher, and another wide receiver. They needed another wide receiver. They needed edge rusher. They needed a linebacker. They already have good linebackers, but I think because Raekwon Smith was so good that they added to the linebacking core that they had now. Now, me personally, I know they have good safeties and they have good corners, but to me, they should have went D-line, but I think that drafting a linebacker for the long haul, just in case if one linebacker that they have now is good enough and just goes into free agency, they still have Raekwon Smith for another 4 years. That's if he shines. Now, for the rest of the roster, how well does Mitchell Trubisky play? How well does the offense play? And how well does defense play? To me, the Chicago Bears have a great defense. They have a good defense. It's just the offense was never backing up over the years, even with back in the day when they had Jay Cutler. He was an okay quarterback. I think for the Chicago Bears in the long-term future, I think Mitchell Trubisky will be a better quarterback than Jay Cutler. Now, I know that's probably, not saying a lot, but Jay Cutler was decent. Just the fact that people just didn't like the way he handled himself. Like, he was a downer. Like, he wasn't a team leader or anything like that. But I think Mitchell Trubisky long-term will be the quarterback of the future. And when he got drafted, I was saying to myself, when I was watching the draft, and I saw that the Chicago Bears moved up. And I think they took the 49ers spot. Or they switched with the 49ers. When I look back, I was I was just thinking to myself, I was like, a lot of people in Chicago were mad. They didn't like the pick. They were like, what are they doing? And I sat back for a second, took a deep breath, and I was like, well, let's just wait a minute. Let's just wait and see how he plays. A lot of people were like, oh, he didn't really play that well in college and all stuff like that. But for me, it was just, let's just see what he's about. Let him learn. Let him learn how to be better. Let him, they had a defensive-minded head coach last year, but this year they have Matt Nagy, who was the offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's now the head coach. They already had a good defense. It's just they needed good offensive play and continuous steady offensive play. So we're gonna see if the offensive line is good or not. They have been good, but they're not a top 10 offensive line in the NFL, at least in my opinion. But we're gonna see if they can actually play better. Like I said, the defense, they have good safeties, they have good corners, they have good linebackers. To me, they need a little bit more edge play, from the defensive line. But other than that, the Chicago Bears defense should be fine. Now, with the offense, you have Allen Robinson, who a lot of people, if you don't know, I know he got hurt when he was with Jacksonville, but he had 1,000 yards. He had a 1,000-yard season. Then after that, the next year, he got hurt. But he had a 1,000-yard season. He's a good wide receiver. To me, he is a number 1 wide receiver. Now, he's coming back from the ACL injury. They also have Taylor Gabriel, from who they still basically took from Atlanta, because he even though he signed with Chicago, it was like, why would Atlanta not re-sign him? But that's a different story for another day. But they have Taylor Gabriel in the slot, and then you have Trey Burton at tight end. who was with the Philadelphia Eagles last year when they won the Super Bowl. He threw the touchdown pass to Nick Foles. So this offense looks explosive. They also have Jordan Howard coming out the backfield at running back. So this team can be an explosive team. Now, because they're in the NFC North with Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit, we don't know how the season is going to play. People are going to say, "Oh, we can predict, where teams are going to go or how teams are going to play." But I look at it as it's any given Sunday, and I learned this from watching football when a good team can face a bad team, but a bad team upsets them, or even in the NBA where you have a number one seed going against I think this Cleveland Cavaliers like the 5 seed, and they swept the Raptors. And I know they're gonna say it's LeBron James, but still, they still swept them. They were the first seed, and they got swept in the second round. So that's where I look at it. It's any given day, at least in the NBA, and it's any given Sunday once it comes to the NFL. Now, explaining Chicago, they had a good draft. Like I said, NFL.com ranked them number 1. They gave them an A. So I look at the Chicago Bears long term, that they're going to be a good team long term. We just have to see how it plays out. How Matt Nagy, I know they said they're going to go more shotgun. I was watching a show earlier today. They're going to go more shotgun and have a mixture of different offenses in that system. So we're going to see how everything plays out. Like I said, it's one step at a time. It's kind of like you're still rebuilding, but in about 2 to 3 years, you can be a contender if they really wanted to. But it all depends on Mitchell Trubisky being the quarterback of the future for this team. Like I said, we just got to slow down, take a minute. Chicago has not been good since they went to the Super Bowl with Max Grossman. So this is the best that you'll probably get of Chicago, at least right now. In the long term, will it be better? Can it be better? I think so, but for right now, we're just going to have to wait and see. It's preseason. And I know a lot of people don't like preseason. Oh, players get hurt, but I love preseason. I watch preseason. I basically watch all the games. Like, I'll record all the games, watch them, break them down, and see how a certain player is playing. An undrafted player who may pop off the screen. For me, it's watching who's going to take that next step and who's not. Who's just not good at all. Who's going to be, not in the NFL, or who's good that people are just going to pass on and throw them away. I look at those players because I think, in my opinion, that certain people can't play, but they're just not being noticed. So that's why I think that with the preseason, they have 5 games, backups are going to be in there. You get to really see how the Chicago Bear future is going to work out. Now, we're going to move to the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco is really not going to play like that. Lamar Jackson said he's excited. He's excited to play in today's game. He said he wants to show off that he can be a quarterback in this league. Now, I think he could be a quarterback in college. They say, he only completed about 58% of his passes, 59. I don't think he got to 60, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he did. And, he had the best offensive coordinator basically in college. But to me, it's like, if you improve every year completion percentage and you go to the NFL and you have a good offensive coordinator, to me, he has room to grow. He's a project. He's not, even if he was the last pick in the first round, he is a project. If I was them, I don't understand why the Ravens want to put him out there. I know he's a great athlete. You can line him up at wide receiver and have option plays with the quarterback. If I am the Ravens organization, I sit him down, let him learn the playbook. Just in case if John Harbaugh will still be there the next season. Let Joe Flacco play out this contract. Let him have his last year. But if I'm the team, I let Lamar Jackson learn the playbook, learn how to be in the NFL offense. I think he already know how to be in the NFL offense. But for me, I think that let him progress, let him learn, and sometimes in practice during the week, if Joe Flacco, he has if he gets hurt or a day off or whatever the case may be, give him first team reps. Let us see what he can do. If I'm the team tonight, I don't start Joe Flacco. I want to see Lamar Jackson in for the first quarter and half the second quarter, and then I want to see RG3 as the backup. Right now, Lamar Jackson is listed as the third string quarterback. I think he's coming in second today. I don't think RG3, listen, we see what RG3 can be. RG3 to me is still a good quarterback. But Lamar Jackson is the future. Now, can RG3 be the future backup? Yes. But I think that Lamar Jackson is going to come in as the number 2. Even if he's lined up as number 3, I just don't see how they don't at least let him get just a little bit of time with the first team. I don't see how they just don't let him do that. And if I'm John Harbaugh, I'll say, okay, you know what? We got some receivers. We got Michael Crabtree off free agency after he was released from the Raiders. We have Willie Snead that's in the slot who's with the Saints. The Saints didn't really use him last year, but now this year he's gonna be the slot guy. He's that guy. And then they also got John Brown from the Arizona Cardinals. So he's actually explosive down the field wide receiver, very very fast. So now this year they've gotten better on the offensive side of the ball, especially at wide receiver because I think they were like the last scoring offense like for years. Like the Baltimore Ravens offense has not gotten going. They have a good running back. Now we're gonna see now in this year's draft, which I looked up on NFL.com as I said about the Bears. The Ravens were ranked number 7 with an A. I think they were given an A minus. The Bears were given an A. Ravens were given an A minus. Now, to me, they had a good draft because they needed a tight end desperately. Benjamin Watson left; he went back to the Saints, so they needed a tight end. They got Hayden Hurst, which a lot of people say was a reach, and I don't think it was a reach. When you need something and you need that position, and if that's the best tight end that you get in the first round, and plus I think the Ravens actually moved back in the first round, and then they actually got out of the first round. Then they jumped back into the first round and actually got Lamar Jackson. So I think they did pretty well with getting Hayden Hurst. They needed a tight end. Dennis Pitta, I think he's crazy. I think he retired already. But in my opinion, I really think that they did the right thing by getting tight end Hayden Hurst. They got a quarterback in Lamar Jackson. They got a left tackle that they need in Orlando Brown. Hopefully, we'll see what he's about. The rest of the draft, they got a tight end, a cornerback, and linebacker, and a wide receiver, etc. through the rest of the rounds. Now, like I said, the offense, we're going to see how Lamar Jackson, hopefully we see him in with the first team. I hope they don't put him in with the second team unit. Let him get the first team reps. Take advantage while Joe Flacco is not playing. Like I said, I want to play him. Now, the defense, the Baltimore Ravens have always had a good defense. Always have had a good defense. It's just the offense not scoring enough points. They won games by defense. Joe Flacco, for a guy who's won a Super Bowl, has not made the Pro Bowl yet. I understand people are going to say, oh, he's in the AFC. Okay, he's in the AFC. Come on, make a Pro Bowl. Eli Manning's in the NFC. They got plenty of quarterbacks, and he still made the Pro Bowl. I know they're going to say, well, he's a two-time Super Bowl champion. But still, he led the NFL in interceptions 3 times, and he still made a Pro Bowl. Joe Flacco has not made a Pro Bowl. That's just upsetting and that's just depressing. So I look at my notes and I see how the wide receivers play. Like I said, offensive line, they have a good right. I think they have a good left tackle. They have a good left guard. If I was them, I would put Orlando Brown at right tackle just to put him at the right side and let him get that position going right there instead of playing him on the left. But they have a good left tackle. They have a good left guard. Now their center left him with the Tampa Bay, which I don't know why they didn't re-sign him. And they have a good right guard, which I think they have a decent right guard. But their right tackle spot is a question mark, which I'll put Orlando Brown at. Right guard, a little bit question mark, a little suspect. We'll see how they'll play. I think Marshall Yanda, I don't think he's ready yet. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's ready yet. But if he is, he's still obviously a very, very good guard for this team. But like I said, it's about defense, offense tonight. How will Lamar Jackson look and Mitchell Trubisky look? John Harbaugh this year, man, he's on the hot seat. He did not make the playoffs for the past 3-4 years. Basically, a lot of people are upset. Even if he doesn't, let's say he doesn't make the playoffs this year, I still wouldn't fire him. Because what other head coach you're going to get that's better than him, that knows the game as much as he does? I still wouldn't fire him. If Hugh Jackson went 0-16 and still kept his job, John Harbaugh still deserves to keep his job even after the season. That's if, they don't make the playoffs. But other than that, I still look at both offenses. Like I said, the Ravens got new receivers. Hopefully, we'll see how that works out. But just the overall breakdown of both teams, Lamar Jackson and Mitchell Trubisky are the vocal points of the offense. Both teams, to me, like I said before, they have good defenses. We're going to see they have good defenses. It's the offense for both teams to say, hey, in the next 10 years, can the Chicago Bears and the Baltimore Ravens run a division? That's the biggest question mark of all. Can they run their division in 10 years or for the next 10 years after this year? And let's see how they play. There's no pressure. To me, there's pressure on John Harbaugh to make the playoffs. But if he doesn't, like I said, you still keep him. But right now, Bears fans, what I see on paper is you have a good team, but don't expect to get into the playoffs this year. And the same thing with the Baltimore Ravens. I know it's preseason. I know I'm going all in on these teams. I'm excited for this season. I know last year a lot of players are hurt and all these different things like that, but I'm legitimately excited. I'm back on the channel, so make sure you guys like, subscribe, share the video, get it out there. Brandon Sports Talk. I'm back. I'm sorry for being gone for so long, but tonight's game, I'm excited. Offense, we're going to see Lamar Jackson and Mitchell Trubisky. That'll do it. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, Brandon Sports Talk. I'll be back with another video. Until next time, peace.